AFCFTA seminar for bankers started sometimes in March, having realized the fact that most of the engagement programs, seminars, workshops, enlightenment program organized by the government and other agencies seems to be leaving out the bank, who are supposed to be the one to finance the transaction. So, and knowing fully well how important that is, we took it upon ourselves as an institution to do this seminar. We've done it for quite a number of banks. Probably have trained over 2,000 bankers in different banks in the country. And we're happy that Coronation is joining in this morning. The AFCFTA is African Continental Free Trade Agreement, which created the African Continental Free Trade Area that should enable Africans to trade among itself duty-free, and the objective basically is to be able to boost the economy, create more opportunities, jobs, reduce poverty and inequality on the continent. So in the seminar today, I'll be talking about 8 things. I'm Dela Unigo from 3 Things Pursuit Academy. And for those that don't know, our focus basically is to contribute to growth of trade in Africa through trade education, trade enhancement, and trade execution. So I'm looking at 8 things this morning. I have a preamble. I'll be talking about the performance of Nigeria within the African space in terms of trade, the potential available to us through the product that can be traded, the processes, what we change compared to what we used to have in terms of the process in Nigeria of exportation under AFCFTA, the propensities, the tendencies, the implication of signing the agreement. By the way, Nigeria have signed the agreement and we have also ratified. That means we are a state party. We are a state party and we are eligible to be able to trade under this agreement. I'll talk about the problems. What are the challenges that we're likely to face and how do we overcome it? More importantly, which is the whole essence of this session, is the preparation. What does the bank need to do to be able to take advantage of AFCFTA? And then what are the benefits? Benefit to the bank and benefits to the customers. Preamble, understanding the concept of AFCFTA. The African Continental Free Trade Area is an initiative developed in pursuant to the Abuja Treaty, which was signed by Nigeria and other African countries in Abuja in 1991. It's called the Abuja Treaty. It's called the Abuja Treaty. Abuja Treaty was an agreement signed by African countries, and the objective basically is to create an agreement that just enables us to be able to do business together duty-free. And their objective basically is to strengthen regional economic community in Africa. This was one of the things that led to the creation of different economic blocks. The ETLS in the ECOWAS region, the EAC in East Africa, the SADC in Southern Africa, and the COMESA between the South, Southern Africa, and Eastern Africa, and even in Northern Africa, also called the MENA country, also having their own treaty. Agreement among themselves, basically to be able to trade duty-free. And the objective is, if you are familiar with the power of trade in the world, you understand that through trade, we can create enormous wealth in any nation. When you think of powerful economy in the world, you think of US, you think of China, you think of France, you think of Germany, you think of UK, you think of Japan. What makes this country great? It's not just their armory, it's not just their military might, it's their economic power. And in checking the economic power, you notice that the most developed economy in the world are also the most prosperous in terms of export. They generate a lot of purchasing power, gather from all around the world, bring to the headquarters in the capital of those countries to be able to take care of their country because they're creating value. And such countries are said to be developed. They have enough resources. And the per capita income is also very high. Why? Because the factories are working, producing, and the world are consuming their product. And that's exactly what we're trying to do in Africa under AFCFTA. So one of the objectives of the treaty is the establishment of a free trade area, a common national tariff and common market, gradual removal of free movement of persons, goods, and services and capital, and the right of residence and establishment. In the theory of economic integration, you usually have what is called a preferential trade agreement, which is the lowest level, in which a developed country decides that it's going to give another developed country access to its market duty-free. We have an example in AGOA between Nigeria or Sub-Saharan Africa and America. The US have a trade agreement or a trade law, actually, it's a law of the United States that enable African countries, Sub-Saharan African countries, to trade duty-free with America. We also have the general system of preference of the UN that enable a lot of developed countries to be able to trade with underdeveloped or developing countries. But in this case now, we are moved ahead of that in signing a free trade agreement to be able to ensure that it's free trading between African countries. By the way, 54 African countries have signed and 36 have ratified. 22 was needed to ratify, so 36 have ratified, so we are good to go. The objective also is to move beyond that to customs union, where we have a common external tariff or common market, where we have free movement of factor of production, human beings, labor, capital across the continent of Africa. And maybe we'll move on to economic union, where we have a single currency. And I don't know if you can get to the political union. Now, this protocol, this agreement are protocols, 6 protocols, like 6 subsections. Protocol in trade in goods, protocol on trade in services, protocol on dispute resolution, protocol on investment, protocol on intellectual property right, and protocol on competition policy. Trade in goods, trade in services, and dispute resolution have been finalized. Investment, competition policy, and intellectual property right is being negotiated as the second phase. So the first phase that was signed is trade in goods, services, and dispute resolution.
It's easy.
So now, this agreement basically enabled trade within Africa. The goal of this trade, of the protocol on trade in goods, is to boost trade in Africa. So, you know, you've been managing trade mainly from outside of Africa, importing and exporting. Now, we're going to be having increased trade within Africa. Trade has always been done in Africa, only that is very minimal, very, very minimal. This will be able to boost that trade within Africa. It seeks to facilitate trade in goods via enhanced cooperation in the area of technical barrier to trade with sanitary and facility measures, as well as development of continental value chain. Now, there are concerns about this agreement. There are people that have opinion that, look, this agreement, are we sure this agreement is not going to open our borders and make us to become a dumping ground, like some people often say, such that people are going to bring goods into Nigeria, because Nigeria is the major market. Out of every 6 African, 1 is in Nigeria. Nigeria is over 200 million in 1.2 billion people in Africa. So everybody's thinking, look, people are going to come into Nigeria. But this agreement have what is called safeguards. We are not opening up 100% our economy. We're opening up mainly, but we have some area of protection. In fact, we have, out of the over 5,000 HS code of product traded in the world, 90% are liberalized. We will decide the 90%. 7% are on the sensitive list. That will be liberalized over a period of 10 years. That means the duty payable on products that Nigeria categorized under sensitive list will decrease from maybe 30%, depending on what it is, to 0 over a period of 10 years. 10% reduction every year. 10% reduction every year. Then the exclusive list, that is the area that will not be liberalized. If government feel a sector agreed, for example, rice, for example, government wants Nigeria to be self-sufficient, that kind of product will not be liberalized. The idea basically is to ensure that we protect our local industry, economy from competition. While we liberalize majority, we still have some area we have to protect. So we have that liberty under this agreement. Like I said, 54 have signed, 36 have ratified. The only country yet to sign is Eritrea. Eritrea is the only country that is yet to sign. So let's look at the performance. How have we fared? But for COVID last year, trade in Nigeria is almost $120 billion. Oil, non-oil, export, 62.5. Import, total 55.2. Almost 120 billion. Nigerian GDP is about $448 billion. So more than almost 30% actually, or more than 25% of Nigerian GDP is trade. So here is what I tell bankers. I used to work in Diamond Bank, and I've done a lot of marketing of trade customers, and I know that trade customers have challenges. What you can do is, if you can solve those problems, you make it a lot easier. You make it a lot easier to get trade customers. You need deposit, you need income. Trade can make that happen for you. Trade can make that happen for you. Why? If a quarter of Nigerian GDP is on trade, a quarter of Nigerian GDP is on trade, what does that suggest? Where should we be playing? It's in trade. If you're able to get import-export customer into your books, you will get that deposit and income easily. In fact, it's going to be a natural occurrence by virtue of the fact that you have a lot of trade customers doing business with you. It's going to be a natural occurrence. Why? Because they all need bank to do that transaction. They open their form and NXP. They even need financing from bank, you know. So you want to look at trade as a strategy to meet your numbers. As a strategy to meet your numbers. Why? Because of the enormity of trade being done. In Nigeria, here is the trend of non-oil export sector from 2017 to 20. You will notice that as against the notion that we do agri export, which is true, but in terms of monetary value, we make more money from value-added manufactured good export. If you compare all the different items Nigerian export, from manufactured product to agri commodities to minerals, do you notice Asian and European are the ones that buy our agri commodities? Our solid mineral is also sold in Asia and Africa. Who are those buying manufactured goods from Nigeria? Africa. Africa is the one buying manufactured goods from Nigeria. That's basically telling you that if you are going to sell under AFCFTA, what should be your focus? You should be targeting customers with value-added manufactured goods, educating them about AFCFTA, and working with them to take advantage of AFCFTA. Any company producing anything in Nigeria have a potential to do business under AFCFTA. Why? Almost everything that we eat, that we use, are used by other fellow Africans around the continent. That same product you buy, they buy. Most likely for the same reason that you buy that product. But I must also say that because majority of African countries are either low income or lower middle income, only very few are upper middle income. Most African countries are low income or lower middle income. Most African countries, low income or lower middle income. Most African countries. That means they don't have enough disposable income. So what we sell, the same thing that sold during COVID. Who are the winners during COVID? Medical supply and services. Food processing. Food processing. Personal and healthcare. ICT. E-commerce. Agri. Those are the winners of COVID. Those are the winners of COVID. And those are the same people or the same sector that will thrive under AfCFTA. That's the sector that will thrive. Why? In Africa, we are mainly living for survival. Understandably so, because people don't have money to buy luxuries. Retail products, fast-moving consumer goods, food and drug-related items are going to be winners under the AfCFTA. This chart is showing African consumer expenditure in major retail subsector between 2011 and 2016. And it shows that FMCG is what exporters should concentrate on. Also, you will see that Nigeria is already exporting to African countries and ECOWAS. Now, why is AfCFTA important? I want you to check this chart on the screen. Look at this chart on the screen. Can you imagine that Africa, with a population of 1.2 billion people, is contributing just 2.6% of the world trade of about 18.74 trillion. And the top exporters are South Africa, Nigeria, Angola, Algeria, Libya, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, Ghana, Ivory Coast. Every year, Nigeria always second, South Africa always first, both in export and import. In terms of value. But look at this. EU has a population of about 500 million, even less than 500 million. But because they have a free trade agreement among themselves, they are contributing over 30%, about 33% of trade in the world is done by EU. 33% of trade. But what is interesting is that almost 70% of the trade done by EU is intra-EU trade. See Africa, 17%. EU, 69%. Asia, 49%. Let's look at the potential. There's a huge potential for Nigerian manufactured products on the continent. This is because quite a number of items being procured by other African countries from around the world are either already being manufactured in Africa, in Nigeria, or can be produced by Nigerians. We found about 90 products in our set that Nigeria is capable of producing or already producing. The challenge that Nigerian companies might have in the past, which might have prevented entry into this market, is likely going to be pricing. but we reduce duty. As a result of AfCFTA, we expect Nigeria to become more competitive in Africa. We expect Nigeria to become more competitive in Africa. The fact that African countries already import this item is a sign that most of them might be on the exclusive list. Sorry, on the non-sensitive list, 90%. And that basically creates a low-hanging fruit for us to start trading under AfCFTA. According to our Brexit, fruit, beverages, vegetables, apparel, metals, paper products, ferrous metals, fertilizer, plastic, fish, shellfish are products to be traded in Africa that have so much potential but yet to be explored, fully explored rather. In addition to that, here are some of what we found. The African import and Nigeria is capable of producing petrol, cars, wheat, crude oil, medicament, petrol gas, iron, raw sugar, palm oil, rice, corn, insulated wires, sugarcane, non-fillet fish, gold, pesticide, poultry meat, furniture, rubber footwear, malt extract, coal briquette are all. Can you see that these products are in billions of dollars and they are imported by Africa? Billions of dollars and they are imported by Africa. Now, look at what AfCFTA can do to Nigeria. You can see how lopsided our trade is in terms of export. Petrol, gas, crude oil contribute almost 85% of trade done by Nigeria. However, with growing manufactured good export that is possible that AfCFTA, we can change this narrative. We can systematically diversify our economy because of the likely increase in trade of manufactured goods done by Nigeria on the continent. The process. Now, so the question you're asking me now is, how does my customer take advantage of AfCFTAs? How do we ensure that the customer is able to enjoy the benefit? The export process is not going to change significantly. If you are familiar with the export process, the exporter do his planning, sign his contract, raise his fund, procure, produce. Now, under AfCFTA, he will not be able to ship to other African countries duty-free if it's not registered as a business. Under AfCFTA, and also register his product under AfCFTA. Business registration will require CAC, limited liability, export license, tax clearance to show that he is a responsible corporate citizen. If all that is in place, the business can then apply to register its product. Having registered the business, we can register the product. Not all products will be eligible for trade under AfCFTA. Why? Remember, safeguard, 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 safeguard. Remember, safeguard, safeguard, safeguard. Remember, safeguard. Safeguard to protect. Safeguard to protect the local economy. You know, one of the possibility of this kind of agreement is a Chinese man that is targeting Nigeria can produce and move it into Morocco. When it gets to Morocco, you know what it will do? They will repackage it as Moroccan product, or repackage it as Kenyan product, or repackage it as Ghanaian product, and then ship to Nigeria. That is the possibility under AFCFTA, under free trade agreement generally in the world, for those that want to take advantage, those that are not part of the agreement, but feel they are losing their market and want to take advantage. To prevent that, not all products will be eligible. However, any Nigerian that is producing any manufactured product or commodities, but 100% sourced in Nigeria or in Africa for commodities, or for value-added manufactured product, about 60% raw material sourced on the African continent, will be eligible for trading under AFCFTA. That will ensure that at the end of the day, African businesses and African people are the ones that benefit under that free trade agreement. African business and African people are the ones that benefit under this agreement. Because of the concept of rule of origin for different products, that will mean every product will have a certificate of origin. Every product will have a certificate of origin. That document will be required for pre-export documentation, and it will be also required to be sent alongside with other shipping documents to the buyer at destination to be able to clear the goods at destination duty-free. So not all manufactured products will be eligible under AFCFTA. Those that will be eligible will need to be compliant with the requirement of rule of origin. To be compliant, the product will have to be substantially processed, wholly produced, or value added on the African continent. So manufacturers might need to look into their processes again and probably rework their supply chain in order to benefit from AFCFTA. Reworking supply chain might require sourcing raw material from within Africa or funding production of raw material on the African continent. So an exporter needs to examine the African market to know where the products are in high demand, investigate the market to know what the package and labeling requirement entails, and make the necessary adjustment in product quality and packaging. What are the propensities? Likely challenges. This program will create a short-term challenges that we face. African import and mainly manufactured products and focus on Nigerian development agenda. The focus on Nigerian development agenda, rather. AFCFTA therefore provide Nigerians with opportunity to realize our economic growth and our aspiration. In the short term, it is expected that AFCFTA will cause a decline in government revenue, decline in GDP and government saving, decline in balance of trade with Africa as imports will grow faster than exports, but this will be partially offset by a rise in price of products of export due to rising demand. A decline in consumer prices due to imports is also expected, which will lower inflation. Significant increase in imports, and this is expected to be significant across different sectors, particularly the sector that will experience decline in the tariff over a period of time. Here are some of the sectors that is expected to grow. Pulp, paper, printing, publishing, According to Man report, basic metal, iron, steel, non-metal, textile, apparel, and chemical and pharmaceutical are expected to grow and see some investment and employment. And of course, we expect a decline in wood and wood products, electrical and electronics, motor vehicles assembly, food, beverages, tobacco, plastic, and rubber. We expect a decline in those subsectors. In the long run, agri trade will grow in Africa. Manufactured goods export will rise due to high investment in productive sector. Interest rate will likely rise due to high demand for credit to satisfy export, but this is expected to be modulated over a period in the long term because foreign investment will increase and that will make interest rates to drop. The exchange rate will be pressured in the short term as imports will grow faster than export, but in the long term, it will appreciate as demand stabilizes and export overtake import. Increase in production and service capability and trade within and outside of Africa will also create job opportunity for both low and high skilled persons. Ease of movement of persons, services, capital, and goods, which will eventually result from the AFCFTA, will improve productivity and specialization through improved mobility of skills. How about the problem? What are the challenges? Now, we have issue with corruption, we have issue with competitiveness, we have issue with infrastructure, we have issue with so many issues actually. But do you know what's interesting is, it seems to me that there's something working for Nigeria, and I get that is our population, that despite the fact that we have such a very low infrastructure to support production, somehow, Nigeria is still trading in Africa. In some sector, probably not in all sector. Do you know on the competitiveness index, Nigeria is number 15 in Africa and number 4 in West Africa. So that means Nigeria is still better than many other African countries. In terms of diversification, a number of other African countries need to adjust. South Africa, you can see the diversification. Nigeria, oil contribute 87%. For Angola, 97. Algeria, 93. Libya, 97. Some other countries in Africa are diversified already. Egypt, well diversified, 34 for mineral. Electrical, 18 in Morocco. Morocco is well diversified. Ghana also is not doing badly, 33% for gems and precious metals. Tunisia, 29% for electricals, and Cote d'Ivoire, 53% for cocoa. Like I said, we still have issue with corruption, no doubt. We have issue with inflation. We have issue with ease of doing business, no doubt. These are issues. So all I'm saying is that in spite of the challenge, or the challenges we have, Nigeria is still not doing badly, only that we can do a lot better. We are still the second largest exporter in the continent, both intra-Africa and extra-African export. With so much being produced in Nigeria, shipped to North Africa, Central Africa, and of course, West Africa. As we round off, so how should the bank prepare? Remember when I started, I talked about the fact that I think banks need to prepare adequately to take advantage of it, so that the bank can be well positioned to take advantage of the AFCFTA. How can the bank be positioned for AFCFTA opportunity? Number one, communication. Number two, Capacity, number 3. Collaboration, number 4. Commitment, number 5. Cooperation, number 6. Coordination. Number 1, communication. You know, we did a research in 2019, and that research basically was to check why is it that Nigeria is not taking advantage of the ETLS free trade agreement in West Africa. And we found out that the major issue is information. Information, information, information. Information, information, information. Access to information is a big challenge. Why? Because of lack of communication of those information. And we have the opinion that bankers are closer to the customers. They can easily communicate. So if we're able to disseminate the information to bankers, they will be able to communicate to the customer. Those who are supposed to take advantage of this, I mean, the businesses across the country, the manufacturers. So communication regarding the programs, the product and profit, the promotion and purchasers, the people, the policy, the procedure, the paperwork and payment. But the second one is most important: capacity building, capacity. You know, one of the biggest challenges we have as professionals is the fact that many don't realize that the goal of working is not really earning. Earning is one of the benefits of working, but the goal of working is learning. Immediately, I have that mindset shift. Do you know what happened? It changes everything about the way I approach my job. I will begin to see the need to learn on the job as much as possible. And that every additional responsibility is an opportunity to learn rather than complain. Whenever there is a problem in the office and we are trying to solve it, and we are thinking to solve it, when you think, you query your database. If your database is shallow, the quality of thought will be poor, and it will be tough to solve that problem. Always remember, as humans, we always face challenges. And all we need to do is to keep looking for solutions. But when we are given to developing our mind, it's easier to find that solution. Because the raw material for thinking is information. But information is free, knowledge is expensive. The difference between information and knowledge is the fact that knowledge is what you know about the information outside. Converting information to knowledge requires cost, and the cost is called time. To be able to learn, in order to be able to deliver. Look at this trajectory. Look at this trajectory. My goal is to get deposit, right? Good. Income, right? Good. What value am I creating for my customer? What problem am I solving for the customer? If I don't create value, it's because I'm not solving problem. If I'm unable to solve them for the customer, it's because I'm not competent. If I'm not competent, it's because I'm not skillful. If I'm not skillful, it's because I've not learned. And not learning is as a result of not training myself. So we need to learn about the product, pricing, paperwork, purchaser, payment, financing across different areas to be able to solve this customer's problem. And like I said, when you solve that problem, you create loyalty for that customer to do business with the bank. Trade is going to grow in Africa, courtesy Afcfta. I see a new career on the horizon. Because trade is going to grow and your bankers, maybe an aspect of banking you want to invest your energy, effort, and time to learn is trade as much as possible. Why? That will make you to be able to solve problems for customers in that area, and then you can meet your numbers. You can perform excellently and become a very valuable and probably indispensable in your organization. So if you are looking forward to, particularly for those just joining banking, what does the future hold for me in banking? Maybe you want to consider trade financing. Maybe you want to consider trade law. Maybe you want to consider international business. I mean, trade in general, because we expect that sector to grow and we need more skill among bankers to be able to help in financing and understanding that sector. Collaboration. The organization will need to collaborate with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NISAL, Afrexim, African Development Bank, other financial institutions in Africa, AFCFTA, National Committee, LCCI, ACCI, LCCI, NASIMA, NEXIM, and different collaboration will be required, and cooperation among the banks. Of course, the bank need to have a unit that will be the arrowhead, a unit that will carve the vision of what the bank needs to do, but you also need to work together, TAM, together everyone achieve more from the business development unit, local and foreign operation, export desk, credit risk management, and the like. Of course, the management also need to commit resources to financing product under AFCFTA, have a well-developed and equipped export desk, probably using NXP as one of the KPI for marketers, and of course, they are more the champion of AFCFTA in and around the bank. Like I said, there must be a desk that will drive export and AFCFTA in general with a vision divided into objectives, used to formulate strategy, and from there draw a plan that determines daily activity to be able to achieve the objective under AFCFTA. As I close, let me talk about the profit. First of all, who are the people we need to market under AFCFTA? Importer looking for foreign exchange, company looking to diversify income into other businesses, established exporter looking for market in African countries, intending exporter looking for market for their products, state government looking to get market for their SMEs, state government looking to get market for their SMEs. Source of deposit, raw material fund, labor and production, clearing and forwarding, export proceed liquidity. How about the income? Float income, interest income, NXP charges, and account maintenance charge. For the benefit to the exporter itself, exporting duty-free to African country, utilization of idle or excess capacity, building immunity against impact of recession in local economy, because now it's trading, it's exporting, growing market share in African countries, generation of cheaper foreign exchange to fund import of raw materials, reduction of non-tariff barriers to exports, leading to low cost of trading the continent, and overall increase in turnover and profitability of the business. How about the importer? The importer also have a benefit. They can now import their products that they import from Asia, from other African countries duty-free. Cheaper source of forex for importer of raw material, who also export his manufactured product to other African countries. Reduce costs with backward integration via reworking of supply chain for raw materials, reducing cash conversion cycle because of short transit time, importing at a cheaper rate when compared to other African countries or other countries outside of Africa, and increase competitiveness because of low cost of importation. As I close, let me talk a little bit about programs. We have corporate programs and personal development programs. The implant or certification programs. In terms of AFCFTA, we have a couple of training on AFCFTA, strategic planning framework for bankers on AFCFTA, leveraging on AFCFTA to grow export proceed, maximum potential of African market under AFCFTA, exploring export product under AFCFTA, importing from African country under AFCFTA, And then marketing, managing and multiplying export trade customers, structuring and selling export trade finance, managing and monitoring export business financing, fundamental principle of financing agri and mineral export, and handling emerging support services for exporters. As we close, I also want to talk about our certification program. We have a certification program in conjunction with American Institute of Extended Studies. It's called the American Charter Trade Specialist. You can actually become a chartered trade specialist. And there are 5 levels in that process. Level 1, basic trade professional. If you already have an experience in trade, you don't need to do basic. You can do intermediate trade professional, and then you can move on to advanced, then finance, and then diploma in export business management or diploma in export trade finance. So you can be we also have certificate in trade customer service, certified basic trade professional, certified intermediate trade professional, certified advanced trade professional, certified specialist in trade finance, certified trade solution professional, diploma in export business management, and diploma in export trade finance. The classes are run online every Saturday in the morning, and you also do your exam online. You will be supervised remotely from the comfort of your house. We're currently having 50% discount for tutorial. We do tutorial for these courses in Nigeria. We're currently giving 50% discount for the tutorial in this month. Lastly, I would like to say, if you want to develop our economy, if you want to grow our GDP, if you want to create more trade in Africa, if you want to create employment, if you want to boost our foreign reserve, if you want to increase wealth on the African continent and reduce poverty, there is need for aggressive drive for interregional trade. Thank you very much. We can entertain some question and comment before we close. Sheyi, over to you.
Thank you so much, Dele, for the insights on the need to focus on intra-African trade. Personally, I just have one question. There's a slide where you talked about performance.
Yes.
The title of the slide was performance, and you said something about focusing on manufacturing. I did not understand the relationship of focusing on manufacturing and the graphs. You showed some graphs where I think there was a part where Nigeria was red and was really high. I don't know if you can go back there and just explain again, because I didn't understand it.
Okay, what I was saying there is that in marketing customer for trade in Africa, we need to be very strategic. And based on the data available, currently, majority of Nigerian exports to African countries are manufactured goods. So that means there are demand currently already for Nigerian products in Africa. So if I'm going to be marketing a customer and trying to encourage them on AFCFTA or finance them under AFCFTA, I should tilt more towards manufactured value-added goods, processed agro products than raw commodities. Because a number of African countries don't need commodities, they need finished products. Nigeria is better than many of them. So value-added goods will sell more in Africa. And I went further to say that when you're looking at value-added manufactured goods, you should be looking at the winners of COVID. That is what people bought during the lockdown. That is what people needed for survival. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you very much.
All right.
Is there anybody that has any question for Mr. Dele? Any questions?
All right. If there's no question, maybe it's time to close.
You can also type your question in the chat if you don't want to speak.
Yes.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Okay, Kes is raising up his hand. Yes.
Oh, okay. First of all, Dele, sorry that I couldn't join on time. I'm on the road.
Okay.
So that's why I didn't join on time. I actually just got to Abuja now. So I know in respect to the question that she asked, you were saying something I can get a sense. Manufactured, processed food item, or breverages. Those are the kind of things that you're looking at, or you're talking, or you're making reference to.
Yes.
So the question I really want to ask is issue around free movement. That is a big challenge, even in West Africa. So how does the African Free Trade Agreement intend to achieve that? Even in our small West Coast, we have still not been able to overcome that.
When you say free movement, what do you mean exactly? Because we are able to
free movement of people, and because that's one of the advantages that you did mention, so that will be free movement of goods and free movement of personnel, persons, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
How do they want to achieve that? Because really, the reality is that I don't know. It's a major challenge. How has the plan to do that? Even if you are speaking to a customer and the customer says, okay, I need to move my goods, I need to get involved in this. How is that going to? What's the logistics around that?
So when you say free movement, can you be more specific? Do you mean for me to move from here to Cote d'Ivoire, or for my goods to move from here to Cote d'Ivoire? No,
both. You and the goods.
Okay, people and the goods. Okay, I get your point. For the people, what is happening right now is when the agreement was signed, there was another agreement that was signed on movement of people. Some African countries have not signed, but a number of African countries have signed to be able to enable them move among themselves. So currently, those that have signed can move within other African countries, like the way I can go to Cote d'Ivoire with my passport and I won't have to be waiting and queuing for visa. That agreement is on. Different countries are being persuaded to be able to sign so that it will be easier to be able to move people. People will be able to move freely because of the trade or business we are going to be doing among ourselves without necessarily having to go for visa. That is ongoing. Then for the movement of goods, there is this program being done by Nexim. It's called Sea-Link Project. It's a public-private partnership to enable, I think they've even bought some of those vessels already, to be able to move goods within Africa, within from Nigeria to West African countries and Central African countries. They are currently doing the channel of the lower Niger, so that even if I'm bringing goods from the north, I don't have to bring it to Lagos. It can go to, there's a port in Ajaokuta that will be used. That port has always been built by the colonial master. And so they can easily from there use a barge to move it to vessels, and from the high sea move to West Africa and Central Africa. That was even on before we signed the agreement, only that it was slowed down last year, that we were supposed to take up last year, but COVID did not allow. And as at March last month, Negi I was seeing as a program in Abuja that Negi was giving update on progress they are making, and the further money has been made available by African Development Bank to be able to ensure they are able to do the waterways. Navy is already doing that waterway channel for them to be able to start that trade. So we're still hopeful that we'll be able to have that before the end of the year to make it easier. But for the landlocked country, but at least we have about 15 landlocked countries in Africa. For those that don't landlocked, we'll be able to move goods easily to those countries, and we won't have to put goods on container or on ship, and the ship will go to Europe first and then come back to Africa, spending almost a month, something that would have spent less than a week. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Yeah, to a large extent, but I'm just wondering why that was not directly part of the signing agreement of the free trade.
No,
given the complexity around it.
Are you looking at the movement of person? That agreement was signed
both.
The same day. But for goods, different countries are working on logistics. Nigeria is working on its own. African Development Bank is financing some projects for rail to happen in Africa. Different programming. You know, the reason why movement also was, there is incentive now for investment across Africa for movement by road and by rail, because they expect more goods and people to move, so they can toll that road and the rail can be moving with goods and they can recover their money. So there are more incentives now for those investments to happen.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But the real issue is really getting, number one, mentality around the African culture, about their broader Africa.
Cultural intelligence.
Exactly, and the cultural differences. Because I know I've moved along African coast a lot, and I've seen it. I've seen it physically. It's not something that I've experienced it.
Wow.
So we just hope that the free trade agreement will be able to. And I like the fact that they're talking about a lot of infrastructure around movement.
Yes,
because really, for me, I think
without movement, you can't do much without.
I think that's where the success of this agreement is going to be hinged on.
Yeah.
Anything other than this, we might just be dusting those paper and agreement, and it's just.
All right. All right. Any other comment or question, please?
To you, Shay.
Shay, I think we can close if there's no comment again.
Yeah, so no questions, no comments. So thank you everyone for